It's Bruce Anderson. Hello, this is Bruce Anderson, CEO of 247 Solar, and I'm here today to show you a new idea for uh, assisting emerging countries with economic development and growth, and to do so in a zero carbon way by using round the clock solar power and heat. So it's a new concept, but it's designed to deliver the economic and job growths that uh, that Africa deserves, and other worlds that are developing, but that they deserve and can enjoy as part of their future. So I'm CEO of I'm Bruce Anderson, CEO of 247 Solar. We're a spinoff from MIT, and the United States Department of Energy found this technology compelling enough to fund it with quite a bit of money. And now we're at the point where we are commercializing these technologies for the first time and letting the world know that 24-hour a day clean power from the sun and heat is a reality. So the company was founded by an MIT professor and myself. I am the I'm an alumnus. I'm co-founder and inventor of the technology. As I said, we're building our first commercial scale systems right now in Arizona, the United States. We expect to start deploying customer projects at the end of the year, and we have a lot of interest, just an amazing amount of interest, and so a really nice pipeline of projects. So today's leadership team at this session here, myself, um, Natalie Lorenz, Board Director and Vice President of Operations, Mark Von Kazecki, our Director of Marketing Communications, and Tony Vandermeulen, who is a 24/7 Solar regional representative, of which we have around 15 around the world. So this is the concept. We call it the 24/7 Solar plant that produces both power and industrial heat around the clock. That's also zero carbon. Um, it consists of this gem here, I'll say, this technical gem. Sometimes we call it the 24/7 solar converter, sometimes the receiver. But at any rate, it sits on top of a 35-meter tower. This device converts um, sunlight from what are called heliostats on the ground, basically solar mirrors that track the sun and focus their light up on top of the tower into this converter device. And this device converts light into heat, and it heats air, just nice simple air at ambient pressure, to almost 1,000 degrees centigrade. Some of that heat is used during the day to power these turbines, which are also pretty amazing. I won't go into right now. And some of it goes into a storage system. That's all there is to it. Just blowers and dampers moving air. So this is our system. This is a single system here. It's 400 kilowatts, about 600 kilowatts of heat, about the size of 5 acres, depending on the sunshine. Very simple, few moving parts, like I said, blowers and dampers. Completely replaces fossil fuels ultimately. It can be built and operated by local citizens. You can build many of them, depending on the requirements. And the heat can be used for electricity, hot water, purification, water purification, crop refrigeration, food processing, even green hydrogen. So what it does is really makes these communities, in a sense, self-sufficient and wealthy by creating jobs. Uh, um, and it's all about jobs. It's all about capacity building. And it's all about an opportunity that communities never had, which is control of their electricity and of their economies. They can produce their own electricity 24 hours a day. They can develop their own industries and jobs according to their own needs and appropriateness to the local culture. Um, and by integrating these kind of systems, community by community, into a single grid, you really avoid those grids from coming down because it's decentralized, it's stabilized, and gives everybody energy independence and stabilized energy costs for years to come. So it's all about jobs. And it's about jobs everywhere in the world, but particularly in developing countries. It's you don't get the jobs just because you give somebody a solar panel. You've given them electricity, but there's no job in that. What we want to do is give people jobs. And the way you do that is provide the heat 24 hours a day and the electricity 24 hours a day, and to have predictable costs. So for a country, this lowers their costs of electricity by lowering their transmission costs, for example, the infrastructure, the operation of it, the line losses, um, and they get carbon-free economic growth. So they don't have to worry about reducing their carbon as much as growing carbon-free. It increases the reliability of the grid. You have fewer grid outages. And our system doesn't need a backup reserve power plant because of the redundancy. I mean, if you have a 5 megawatt system, you're talking about roughly 12 or 13 of our systems. And so if one goes down, you have all the others. You don't need a big reserve backup power plant like every other power plant the world requires. So here's an example use case. I mentioned Eswatini requiring 50 megawatts of baseload power, but can't secure funding for a conventional fossil fuel plant. The solution is that we proposed a 3-year stage deployment as they needed, as they grew, as they develop infrastructure and abilities and so on, and to break it up into pieces as economic development zones near population centers. And they're deployed over time. New industries and new jobs are created. And the outcomes of this are multiple. I mean, you have up to 40 years of stable and predictable power and heat. You have reduced dependence on power from neighboring countries, which is often a problem for emerging countries, is that so are their neighbors, and they're emerging, and their power needs are precedent over their neighboring countries. Reduces their dependence on imports of fossil fuels, which reduces carbon flow, capital flow out of the country. A big, big deal. Reduce carbon emissions for power generation, industrial steam. Baseload power. This is the highest reliability you can get. The highest capacity factor is our system. And it's baseload built and operated primarily by local citizens. I mean, what's not to like? New industry and jobs creation. So I'll stop it there. We had this is I think something for everyone to ponder as a way of solving much of the world's problems. And I thank you for listening, for appreciating this concept of green economic development zones. Have a good day. Bye bye.